We have a quorum. Is there any matter, well, did anybody sign up for open forum?
No, sir.
Any matter on a consent agenda?
No concerns, Judge.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Item 4,
Item 4, discussion and consideration for an installation of a low water crossing on the Mission Lateral for no more than 30 days. Part of our program is to be widening our system out. We have a developer that owns a tract of land that's adjacent to our Mission Lateral. He wants to put in a low water crossing for about 30 days to be able to excavate both sides of the ditch to put the dirt on his property. He owns the property, so I have no issue with that. We'll be following up probably about another week or two. Sharyland Independent School also wants to widen part of the ditch, use part of that dirt. So we'll be coming to this board in another couple of weeks. But I think everything's in order for the board to consider this low water crossing.
Second.
those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5, requesting approval of work authorization number 2 in the amount of $585,649.27 for engineering services with LNG Engineering as it relates to the 83 relief route drainage outfalls under the La Jolla Watershed Improvement
you.
Project contract. We had a public hearing a couple of weeks ago in La Jolla on the relief route, which is tied into our watershed. TxDOT seems to have had a favorable public hearing on it. We're moving along with the segment of the drain ditch that we need to build in that area, which TxDOT is going to build. So I believe everything's in order for the board's consideration.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval of filing negotiated contract with Quintanilla Hadley and Associates as it relates to survey meets and bounds description for San Carlos Dickerson Pond and San Carlos Aguilar Pond Precinct 4, previously approved for negotiation by Hidalgo County Drainage Number 1 Board of Directors, May 7, 2013. This is just a survey of those two tracts of land so we can move forward with the closing documents. And that way, once that's closed, that money comes to the county for the use of the county on that asset
Second.
purchase.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On item 7, I believe I'm going to turn that over to Ms. Norma Garcia. Is that item 17?
Yes. Okay. Good morning, Judge Commissioners. This item basically is cleanup language of the depository contract that was already approved. For years, it's been that the Drainage District's depository contract reflects exactly what's in the Hidalgo County contract, and it wasn't. So we made sure that it is now. Now they are. All we need is ratification from you all to go ahead and approve this. It hasn't been executed, by the way, yet, so.
All right. So then we need action on this?
Yes, sir.
Second.
All right. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And the next item, of course, is approval of the signatures, and those signatures would be Laura Briones and myself on the checks that go out from the Drainage District.
Move for approval.
Second?
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And then, of course, now is authorization for the county treasurer to facilitate and coordinate the opening of applicable bank accounts, as well as the closing of the bank accounts for auditing purposes. Same thing as we did with the county.
Move for approval.
Second?
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Judge, Commissioner, I apologize. Item 6, approval of budget amendment for work authorization number 2 to fund the LNG Engineering $585,649.27 2013 bond series as it relates to the US 83 relief route drainage outfall of La Jolla watershed improvements. I accidentally jumped over that one.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioner, we do have an item under closed session for consideration of real estate acquisition.
All right, pursuant to 55107.1 and 072, need a motion to proceed to executive session. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Mr. Garza?
Yes, sir. We will proceed as directed by the Board of the Drainage District.
All right. Need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much,
Our regular
Judge
meeting
Commissioners.
is going to convene at 9:30. We've got about 10 minutes left. Morning to the regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court for today, May the 21st, 2013. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, we come to you today with heavy hearts because of what happened in Oklahoma. We ask you to give special blessings to the people, the families, everybody involved. We ask you to bless our county. Help us to always be thankful for everything that you give us. Help us as we go into the business of the county. Help us make sure that it's fair for everyone and concerned. We ask you to bless our families, bless our nation, and a special blessings for our judge and our county commissioners who have to deliberate all the time and take on very heavy responsibility. We ask all of this in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing and join me for a moment of silence in remembrance of those killed and injured in the Oklahoma tornadoes of yesterday. We also remember the loved ones of those affected. May they find the healing and comfort they need in the days to come. Further, at the request of Precinct 3 County Commissioner, we would ask that we also have a moment of silence for Mrs. Guadalupe Ramirez, who passed away this week. She is the mother of Chief of Staff, County Commissioner Precinct 3, Mona Porras, and as requested by County Commissioner Precinct 2, that we also have a moment of silence for Mr. Beto Rodriguez of San Juan, who is the father of PAR San Juan Alamo Independent School District School Board Trustee Bob Rodriguez, and the uncle of Hidalgo City of Hidalgo Manager Joe Vera Jr. Thank you. All right, our consent agenda, any concerns?
Yes, Judge, I would like to ask that consent agenda item 5B, as in Bob, consent agenda item 10C as in Charlie, 10C4, and consent agenda item 10D be pulled for discussion.
All right, need a motion to approve subject to those four items.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5B, Judge.
Yes,
That's in reference to the collections that are being made by the District Attorney's Office. Based on my understanding on the local government code, a officer can collect for another officer, but the individual that wants to collect has to petition the officer and the Commissioner's Court to be able to do that. We find no evidence that the District Attorney's Office has petitioned the JPs and the Commissioner's Court to collect on the JP's behalf.
is this our scofflaw?
This is the scofflaw, yes, sir.
I don't understand your objection now.
I'm sorry?
Put that again.
It's under 5B, I'm sorry, consent agenda 5B.
Well, we want him to collect fines and fees, don't we?
Well, I don't have an issue with him collecting. I'm saying is that by law, he has to, number one, petition the JPs ask for their permission to collect on their behalf, and also ask the Commissioners Court for their approval.
Well, that, we talked about it a couple of years ago. We've been talking about
Is
trying to
that
collect some money.
in writing or just verbal?
I would think it has to be
Or Judge,
formally requested.
can we have a short discussion here?
Morning, Mr. Guerra.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Judge, last year in the budget, you gave me a prosecutor for JP.
Correct.
It says the JPs on collections and prosecutions of the $40+ million that are owed to the county on traffic tickets that have never been collected or paid. Now, I hired a young man who's doing a wonderful job by the name of Ben Avila. And for a month and plus, I filed a report with the Commissioners Court attached to my monthly report that is required by law on hot checks and other collections that we do, restitution. And unfortunately, that report said scofflaw, which is objectionable to the auditor. We didn't bother to pick up the phone and said, Renee, what is this? And I would have told him, when we take somebody to court on a felony court or county court law case, they check the database for the JPs, and they find that they have pending cases that have not been paid. He goes with an investigator that you also provided for the white-collar crimes, elections and what have you, and they apprehend them and says, you pay or you go to jail. So that report that should have been provided to you by the auditor and maybe attached to my monthly reports shows the word scofflaw, which is in essence, it's really not scofflaw. They're just pending cases in JP court that have been paid through the negotiations with my assistant.
Judge,
Well, even if there were scofflaw, I mean, we want our district attorney's office to do what
Well-
Mr. Guerra is doing.
There's a statute that says, that was passed in 1989, which is going back to the horse and buggy era before we had cell phones and what have you, that the auditor says that I have to get permission from you to collect on behalf of somebody else. We collect millions of dollars through the hot check division, some for the victims and some we negotiate the cases with the JPs. They pay us the JP fines, the court costs and what have you, and we send thousands and thousands of dollars to JPs for the last 30 years that I've been a DA, and never has an auditor ever questioned what we're doing. I don't know what's gotten into my friend the auditor, that if he has something of a legal opinion, which he shouldn't be giving legal opinions, and he should be asking my staff for legal opinions, but instead of auditing, he's out there looking at books, instead of picking up the phones and calling elected officials on things that he thinks maybe we need to technically come before the Commissioner's Court. And I'm getting a little irritated with this kind of bushwhacking that is going on.
Well,
And if he doesn't stop researching instead of auditing, I may have to take this matter before the Board of Judges.
move for approval.
Judge, the county has a county clerk as a collection department. They collect all fines and fees for all court cases. So I would think that the county clerk could be doing that.
Mr. Ofracio, we went ahead and hired a lawyer specifically to work for Mr. Guerra on this issue. That to me implies that we agreed, we consented, we authorized him to go ahead and do it. And we want him to do it. I mean, that's his job.
Right, but you would think the JPs agreed to that? I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence to that effect.
Judge, Commissioners, the other thing we would like the court to consider is that these are cases that are pending in the justice courts, that the district attorney's office has statutory authority over, and there is a specific district attorney assigned to handle these cases in the justice courts.
All right.
So what they're doing is negotiating or handling these pending cases that are pending. They're active cases pending in the justice courts.
We have a motion on the floor. Need a second?
For the whole Senate.
Sir?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. What's the next item?
Next item, Judge, is
May I be
the,
excused, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra.
is related to the purchasing department. You going to address it, Marty?
On which one?
I'm sorry?
On the next
10C4.
10C4, yes. Yes, as I emailed your staff yesterday, I told them that I would just merely read out loud the correction on that one item, which was acceptance and approval, and that is on 10C4. of item 4, which should read FM 2221, FM to FM 492 from 681 to State Highway 364. That's the only correction, which is on item 4. It can be taken up and approved.
Move for approval of adjustment language.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Now, the auditor is requesting that a consent agenda item 10D, which is for Urban County program, I'm asking for authority to advertise for a office space for them. It is not an unusual item to place on the agenda. Consent is fine. We have worked with the director to lay out her specifications along with our staff, and so he prefers that you pull it and carry it under regular agenda, or he said it should have been on regular agenda. I think it's a routine item. I ask for authority to advertise all the time.
You want to read it, Marty? You want me to read the agenda item?
It says requesting authority to advertise an approval of procurement packet, specifications, requirements, legal notice, draft requirement agreement, as attached hereto for Hidalgo County Urban County Program, lease of office space, including the advertising of the project.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's all I have under consent. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Did we address all your concerns?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. At this time, we have some elected officials in the audience that have some issues that they want to raise before us. The first one is our neighboring county judge, Judge John Gonzalez from Willacy County, on item number 7D as in David. Judge, would you?
Good morning, Honorable Judge and Commissioners Court. Just to give a little bit of history, I'm here to basically discuss a couple of House bills that we have. They're actually getting voted on today. They moved down to the Senate floor quicker than what we thought they were going to. There was HB 1127, which was the original bill, and then HB 2123. These bills came about both between Wilson County and Harris County because of the proliferating problem that we're having with eight-liners. At a county level, well, cities have the authority to create ordinances and/or business permits. And so a number of cities, I don't think any here in Hidalgo, but a number in Cameron County have done that, created business permits to regulate these machines. I have two cities in my county who've done the same thing. Counties do not have the authority to do that. If a statute says we can do it, we can. If there's no statute, we can't do it. So we don't have the ability to do that. So I'm working with Harris County, and Harris County has a really big problem with eight-liners also. At the beginning of the session, we worked together with the state's legislative council to create that type of ability for counties. And we did this on a local level versus as a statewide level. It's usually easier to get things through on a local level. So at the same time, my representative, Guillen, had filed HB 2123. Then Representative Wayne Smith had filed 1127. And when we filed basically the identical bills, that's when we came together, and both bills my bill was set aside, and 1127, my bracket was put in, so there was a bracket for Harris County and Wilson County. 1127 went through the House with no problems. When we went to the Senate side, there was some little bit of a political fallout. We're trying to work through that, but 1127 is being voted on this morning. And because of that fallout, my county became, as politics happened up there, my county became collateral damage on that. So in doing that, we revived HB 2123. And we've been able to work diligently up there, and in 2 weeks, we've got it through the House, HB 2123, which only has my bracket at this point. It was originally filed by Representative Guillen. It's being voted on this afternoon. We thought it was going to be later this week that it was going to make it to the Senate floor, but it is making to the Senate floor this afternoon. Both of these bills on the Senate side have to go through the Senate committee that is chaired by Representative Senator Chuy Hinojosa. He's very familiar with both these bills. So on Friday, we had HB 223 go through his committee, and it was approved out, and so now it's going to the Senate floor this afternoon. My bill, though, we're not able to take it through the whole process for the last several months, like 1127, to have it vetted out and have what is now HB 1127. So this afternoon, and when it goes on the floor, with the agreement of Chairman Hinojosa's committee, is Senator Lucio is going to make the floor amendments to 2123 so that it can mirror 1127. So that both of these can be identical. And so what I did, I had approached Judge Garcia. Senator Lucio has approached Judge Costco to see if any of the other counties wanted to come in on our bill. So basically, it's an invitation. It allows my county at this point to be able to create a business permit so we can overlook these businesses. It's not to legalize anything on them, but it's just so that in my county we have like two of them that have 300 plus machines each. And so we're unable to regulate them at a county level. This will allow us to regulate them, put some very strict regulations. We've worked hard to shut down the ones that are shut down now. The problem is they're just waiting to see what's going to happen. We are working with the federal government. The federal government's doing their investigative work on them right now. In the end, at some point they're going to start popping back up again. This will allow us, if somebody tries to open one without a business permit at the county level, then we can go in and just automatically shut it down. If they do, then they're under very stringent regulations that we'll be setting at the county level. And so that's the basis of this bill, and I'll entertain any questions. And basically, it's an invitation. If y'all do decide that y'all want to be on it, then Senator Hinojosa would have to do an amendment on the floor this afternoon. We have a very short window at this point now.
Let me make sure that I understand it, Judge. You're trying to regulate these game rooms where they have these maquinitas.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of our residents go to Willacy and
yes, sir.
Cameron and other counties to play.
Yes, sir.
But aren't you, by giving them a permit, aren't you in effect sanctioning them and making people believe that they're legal?
No, if you see in the bill, it says under the bill, the intention of the bill is not to legalize the gambling aspect of it. These machines by themselves, these machines are legal. There's nothing illegal about the machines. But let me kind of put this, let's say a pit bull. As a family, you can take a pit bull, a pit bull is genetically bred to be a fighting dog. But a family can take one as a puppy, raise him as a family dog, he can be a very good dog. However, at some point, the family can take it, turn it around, and turn it into a fighting dog, because that's what it's genetically bred to be. These machines are manufactured to be gambling machines, and they're set up mainly for Nevada Indian reservations where gambling is legal. In the state of Texas, these machines fall under the coin-operated amusement machine statutes. And so at this point, all they really need is a little sticker from the state, slap it on there, and they're legal to have it. And you've seen them a lot in bars and small restaurants, along with, they fall under the same statute as a jukebox, as a pool table, and other coin-operated machines. The same machines that you see in Chuck E. Cheese, all those all fall under coin-operated machines. So the problem is, out of all these machines that are not manufactured to be a gambling machine, you have this one machine that is. And what's happening is these individuals now are going in, and like in my county, they'll rent a 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square foot building and put 70, 100, or 300 in there. And in doing that, then they blacken their windows, or they do membership only. And so in doing that, then they are, and everybody knows that they are proliferating illegal gambling behind those doors. And at this point, it's really hard. Law enforcement's a private business. If they say, no, you can't come in, they cannot come in unless they have a search warrant or some type of arrest warrant. So they're able to operate basically literally behind locked doors and proliferate an illegal activity. What this does is this is not a sticker for the machines. This is, if they want to set up a business that has 6 or more of these machines, they just need to come to the county to get a business permit to house those machines. And doing that allows my law enforcement to walk in at any given time. We can put in the regulations where it cannot be a members-only type business. They cannot have the blackened windows. And then it allows us to make sure that if there's any illegal activity going on, then we have the teeth to do what we have to do. And so it's basically saying you can have these machines and pay out of what they call the fuzzy animal that's worth $5 or less, and it's called the fuzzy animal law under the statute, the original statute, the fuzzy bear law, actually. And so, but with this, we're going to be able to really scrutinize you and look at you. If you do any illegal activity, we have the ability to walk in, shut you down. And if you look under the definitions too as to who an owner is, it goes all the way down to the security companies that are there too. And one of the reasons is in my county, we have the largest one has 300 plus machines. We have found the security company there is owned by a chief of police in Cameron County. And so this law, if it becomes into law, probably more 50-50 chance once it's the governor's office, so would put that chief of police in danger also of a criminal liability. And so what we're doing is trying to put so many barriers in front of them that they actually don't want to reopen. And that's the intent of the law.
All right. Are there any questions or Mr. Guerra, did you want to make a comment?
Good morning. Judge, the Texas Constitution says that gambling is outlawed in Texas unless an official referendum is conducted statewide. Any machines that by their nature are gambling machines, which are games of chance, money paid for a game of chance and money received for the chance that you won, is considered gambling under the definitions of the statutes of the state of Texas. If a commissioner's court were to authorize and to permit gambling establishments together with the operator of the casino, and I don't care how many machines anybody wants to put in a building to attract players, would be indicted under organized criminal activity. Because these little gaming machines, the ones that are being compared to the fuzzy animal, the little crane, have no comparison at all. And they cannot be regulated. They cannot be regulated because to regulate them would require a Las Vegas, Nevada kind of commission to go out and check machines to make sure that if $100 are paid into the machine, at least 80 to 94 given back to the players, where the houses are allowed to keep a percentage for their beautiful buildings in Las Vegas and other places. The gaming machines that the county judge is talking about are gaming machines. Now, if you go to the comptroller and you tell them that you have this particular device, they will give you a little stamp and charge you $25, but that in no way authorizes that machine, doesn't legalize it, and they don't give a legal opinion that it's a legal instrument to be used in Texas.
Mr. Guerra, what if somebody goes into those machines and they make, say, $3,000-$4,000? Will they get a 1099 from these people?
No, I don't think so.
It's not legal then.
The federal government cannot authorize gambling anyway. They can only authorize it maybe indirectly through the nations of the Indians and what have you. Gaming in the nation is not authorized, and the U.S. government is not going to establish gaming and authorize it.
I believe that Judge Gonzalez is contending that he's against these gaming rooms. He wants the authority to regulate, and he believes that we adopt, or the legislature adopts a statute, that we will have the authority to go in there and regulate.
I don't know that the legislature is going to adopt it, and I think they would be foolish in adopting a statute. They could adopt a referendum for the people to decide where we're going to allow these gaming machines around the state. Now, in some counties, the prosecutors and Texas DPS and the sheriff and all these people that are not making money, but I know there's some law enforcement officials that are involved in some of these gaming establishments, okay, that should be arrested, should be indicted, because these places are casinos. I don't care what you call them. They're gaming places like Las Vegas, 300 machines in one building. Just because you send law enforcement in there doesn't even come close to regulating anything, because first of all, you don't know whether the gaming device in that machine is set up where you don't get a penny. I just had a discussion with a couple of people from Georgia who wanted to put machines in Hidalgo, and I told them, if you know that you can't win, how in the world can you call it gambling? Gambling is a game of chance that allows the participants to win once in a while. If a machine is programmed through a computer or through the mechanical device, that they set it up where you come close to winning and you keep pumping that money in there, and you're not going to win, how can they call that gambling? Because you don't stand a chance of winning. And that's why it is impossible to regulate these little fuzzy-like kind of machines that they want to pass through the state. And unless there's a referendum, the legislature cannot authorize gaming in the state of Texas. That's why we had the referendum on the lotto and the scratch tickets and all that. Why? Because that is regulated by the state, because they have an agency that is required to give so much money back to the players and keep so much money for the education fund. I'm against any support for these bills, and my opinion is stay out of the Hidalgo County. If not, we'll have you arrested.
With that being said, I'm here for an invitation, and the intent of these bills is not to regulate the business or these machines. If you look at the bills, because these have been vetted out by a number of attorneys out of Hidalgo County, including the criminal district attorney, Harris County, including the criminal district attorneys who are in support of this in Hidalgo County, Harris County also. And if you look at the intent of this bill, is not to regulate the machines or the activities that are inside of there. One, it's mainly to regulate the locations and how they can allow their clients in or customers in and out of there. So it's just heavy regulation on where they can locate, and then allowing law enforcement to be able to enter at any given time. And then also defines as to who the owners are in case they are found to do anything illegal. So it has this bill has nothing to do with actually regulating the machines or the activities that are happening within the businesses. So that being said, it's an invitation for Hidalgo County. It has gone through the House. It was voted 144 to 3, and I know all the local delegation here in the Rio Grande Valley has voted for it. It's going to the Senate today. Has heavy Republican support to it, and it's not the intent is not to regulate gambling or to legalize gambling. It's going through. I believe it's going to be approved on the Senate side today too.
All right.
Judge, I make a motion to pass on the invitation, just for the mere fact that obviously we're at fourth quarter here. We don't know too much about it. Obviously, we don't want to send a message to our general public that we're promoting anything. I think there's a lot of ambiguity at this point in time on our behalf, not on yours behalf. You've had the opportunity to research it a lot more than we have. So being the fact that I don't believe we crossed the last bridge, I think that we pass on the invitation at this point in time and figure out how it's going to affect other counties from if it does get passed, and see whether or not where we stand further down the road.
All right.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm with it anyways on that one.
So, okay.
Well,
If it does pass, then we have 2 years to take a look at it and see how it's vetted out. So at that point.
Well, that probably the motion in a second is a good way of determining who's where. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sir?
It's
You take an action.
7D,
7D.
and as in David.
7B?
Judge, I think,
Thank you very much.
as it was stated, we're going to pass on it as the motion stated, maybe next session, depending on what happens between now and then, how this issue develops.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I was asked by the senators to ask all the surrounding counties here in the Rio Grande Valley, since we're still at a point to be able to add any brackets in there. I know Kennedy County's coming in. I don't know about Cameron County yet or not, but appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I've done what the senators asked me to do.
I
So,
know what you're trying to accomplish, and hopefully you'll succeed.
so I thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have, I would like to move on to item 18A.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning. Karina Carosa with Public Affairs. I'm presenting on behalf of Commissioner Joseph Palacios in the Precinct 4 office. This item is item 18A, resolution in honor of Jose Maria Ochoa. And I'd like to ask the family that's here present with us today if they can please rise and join me at the podium. Mr. Jose Maria Ochoa is joined today by members of his family. He's a native of the city of Edinburgh and graduated from Edinburgh High School, and served 3 terms as a board member of the Edinburgh School District, and he was able to win a 1993 race for the mayor of the city of Edinburgh. Mr. Ochoa gave 10 years of public service to the city of Edinburgh, and he has proven to be a dedicated public servant who helped shape the future of Hidalgo County's economy. And I'd like to recognize his family members who are joined with him today. Alberto and Yolanda Ochoa, his cousin, Fidel Rodriguez, brother-in-law, Alicia Rodriguez, sister, and Oscar Rodriguez, nephew. And if I may please read the resolution, and then we'd like to have Mr. Ochoa say a few words. Whereas Mr. Jose Maria Ochoa is being honored for his outstanding service and dedication to the citizens of Hidalgo County, and whereas Mr. Ochoa was born and raised in Edinburgh, Texas, to a family who placed an importance on education. After his graduation from Edinburgh High School, he attended Pan American University and later earned a Bachelor of Science degree at the University of Texas at Austin School of Pharmacy. And whereas his venture into public service began in 1984, when he began the first of 3 terms as a respected board member of the Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District, where his work brought him recognition and support to win the 1993 race for mayor of the city of Edinburgh. And whereas throughout his tenure, the city of Edinburgh grew and prospered, during which the community developed plans for growth, new retail chains, profitable family-oriented entertainment venues, and 2 state-of-the-art power plants, and through this generated many new jobs in every segment of the economy. And whereas over the course of his exemplary tenure as a public servant, Mr. Ochoa has truly helped to shape the future of Edinburgh, Hidalgo County, and Texas. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and honors Mr. Jose Maria Ochoa for his outstanding service, dedication, and commitment to the citizens of Hidalgo County. Dated this 21st day of May, 2013.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Ochoa, would you like to say a few words?
Morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Thank you. And I give this honor and glory to our Father God. Thank you on behalf of myself, my family, my friends, all the citizens of Edinburgh and this county for always entrusting me during my terms to do what was right for this great communities. I sincerely appreciate Judge, commissioners, definitely Commissioner Palacios for giving us this honor today. I thank you very much. I'd like for the rest of my family and friends, if they're got here, to please stand up. Recognition of being here with me, always supporting me. Thank you.
Judge, if I might share a few words.
Sir.
The Ochoa family has been near and dear to my heart for many, many years. Growing up as a kid, I was very close. I see Beto in the audience there, and I had the fortunate privilege of being an employee with the city of Edinburgh during the tenure of mayor's position as mayor for the city of Edinburgh. He's been an impeccable leader, has led by example. I want to say that it inspired me to run for office. Although all the times I can't say that my family was on the same side of the fence on many occasions, but we agreed to disagree, but we realized that our hearts were in the same place, and that's progress for our city. His heart is through and through Edinburgh and our community, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't pass an opportunity on recognizing the great efforts of our mayor, Joe Ochoa, and I really appreciate you and your family. You've been pillars in this community, and I really appreciate the service you've given. We hope to lead by example.
Well, I would also join in congratulating you, Mayor, for the work that you have done on behalf of the citizens of Edinburgh. I've been a part of this community for over 50 years, and I've seen a lot of administrations come and go, and by far yours was one of the most progressive in the history of our community, and we need to be congratulated for that. I know we have our, keeping with our policy, I would like to move on to item 9A, our county clerk, Mr. Arturo Guajardo.
Judge, Commissioners, I'm actually also going to present this one for the county clerk. There's two items on the agenda, and first, we have a resolution in honor of Ms. Sylvia L. Reyes, but Mr. Guajardo is here also for the second item, which is a recognition of the Hidalgo County Clerk's Office for receiving the Most Innovative Program Award from the Governmental Collectors Association of Texas. I'll start with the first item, which is the resolution in honor of Sylvia Reyes. Today, we're honoring the work of Ms. Reyes from the Collections Department at the County Clerk's Office. She is everything a great collector and team player should be. She is responsible for the collections and compliance of all the courts. In 2001, she alone brought in more than $500,000 and was ranked first in collections in her office. Ms. Reyes, she's accompanied today by her husband, Victor Reyes, her father, Raul Garza, sister, Sandra Garza, Supervisor Juan Antonio Perez, and of course, the Honorable County Clerk, Arturo Guajardo. And there's a resolution, Judge, if I can read it briefly, and then we'd like to present her with the award that she received.
Yes, ma'am.
This year, she was awarded the 2013 Collector of the Year by the Governmental Collectors Association of Texas. Resolution in honor of Sylvia Reyes. Whereas Ms. Reyes is being honored for her outstanding work and dedication to the citizens of Hidalgo County, and whereas Ms. Reyes was born to Raul C. Garza and the late Elida V. Garza, the Edinburgh native attended Edinburgh High School and has been married to her husband, Victor Manuel Reyes, for 16 years. And whereas in 1978, she joined the Hidalgo County Community Supervision and Corrections Department as a probation officer and worked for the department for 25 years until 2002. And whereas in 2007, she returned to Hidalgo County to work with the County Clerk's Collections Department as a Collections Enforcement Officer, where she was responsible for the collection and compliance of all the courts. In 2011 and 2012, she was ranked as a top collector in Hidalgo County, collecting more than $1 million. And whereas the Governmental Collectors Association of Texas has taken notice of Ms. Reyes' hard work and has named her the 2013 Collector of the Year. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and honors Ms. Sylvia L. Reyes for her outstanding service, dedication, and commitment to the citizens of Hidalgo County. Dated this 21st day of May, 2013.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you so much for this honor. I'm truly, truly humbled. I thank the commissioners for this, for recognizing me today. I want to thank my employer, Mr. Guajardo, Mr. Guajardo, who had faith in me 6 years ago when he hired me, my family, my husband, my parents, my sister, and of course, my team and my supervisor, Mr. Perez. I could not have gotten this award without my teammates. So once again, thank you, and I'm going to do my best to come back a second time. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Before we do the second, before we take a picture with the second one, I'd like to do the second recognition. And this is actually recognizing, the caption reads, Recognition of Hidalgo County Clerk's Office for receiving Most Innovative Program Award from the Governmental Collectors Association of Texas. So the Governmental Collectors Association of Texas is a nonprofit association that recognizes, supports, and serves governmental collection programs in the state of Texas. And this year they selected the Hidalgo County Clerk's Office as having the most innovative program in Texas. This award goes to the department who has demonstrated the most improved collections by developing and implementing innovative procedures, systems, or techniques in the past year. And once again, we have the County Clerk Arturo Guajardo and Ms. Annette Muniz here to accept this award. In 2012, the Hidalgo County Clerk Collections Department became the first of its kind to implement a fully automated system to interact with the Texas Failure to Appear program, Omni-based program of Texas. Working in conjunction with iPlow Inc., they developed a system that would send qualifying cases to DPS and release satisfied cases automatically. The process allowed substantially more driver's license hold to be placed on qualifying defendants in a shorter amount of time, with far fewer man hours and less of a chance of human error. And since the process began, Hidalgo County has collected over $360,000 in cases that had a driver's license hold. So once again, we'd like to congratulate the county clerk, Mr. Arturo Guajardo Jr., and his staff on this very prestigious award.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. This is really not about me, but it's about our collection team that we've had in place there for the past several years. And I want to congratulate Mr. Juan Perez, who's leading that team over there, and as well as Ms. Sylvia Reyes for her individual accomplishments. But like she said, this has been a team effort. And to give you a little bit of history, Judge, I don't know if you recall, but back in 1999, we came before the court to ask permission to start this collection team. We were like the third county in the state of Texas to centralize collection efforts. And since we started, it has been tremendous. They've done a tremendous job. I mean, they collect over $3.5 million a year. I think to date, since 1999, we've collected well over $40 million. These are county courts and district court fines and fees that are assessed by them. And to put it into perspective, before this department was formed, this county was collecting under 20% of what was being assessed, roughly $700,000 a year. In its first year in effect, we went up to $3.9 million. So half of that money is fines and the other half is court costs, and that's going straight to Road and Bridge. So I want you guys to realize what, their effort and where it's going. So I commend them and congratulate them. You guys want to take a picture with the court? Come on in. Come on. Yeah, pásale.
Major, you want to come forward? Major Raul Garza, who's a former Assistant Chief of Police for the City of Edinburgh.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Major.
Yes. Judge, Commissioners, if I may, I'd like to say a few words. I'm Ana Muñiz, Chief Deputy for the County Clerk's Office. As you heard, Mr. Guajardo, we are very proud of the team that we have in all the departments. They have really made the County Clerk's Office shine. But, I always tell people that I'm the cheerleader for the office, and I like to bring attention to where attention is due. While we have a great team, I do not want to forget that we have a great leader. He's really done a tremendous job in bringing great ideas to the table and moving us forward. And he also asks that of the staff, for them to bring ideas, and he also listens and gives the opportunity for staffs to bring new ideas. It is a great feeling when we travel throughout the state that Hidalgo County is looked at as one of the model counties. Mr. Guajardo was a mentor for several of the new county clerks, so that says a lot. But I think the one thing that Mr. Guajardo stresses in our office is very, very important, is that he constantly reminds us who we work for, and that is not for him, and that is for the taxpayers. And I think that is what also motivates us to do a good job in the office. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, let's now move back to our regular agenda under open forum number 5. First presenter is Virginia Townsend.
Yes, good morning again. All this good, positive stuff. Way to go. But you got to get ready to hear me too, which isn't so positive.
Got to make time for what?
You got to hear me too, which is the other side, saying, I get so frustrated because there's so many projects out there that have not been done yet. And I start with the old Commissioner's Court. We went in to use it because we had to not be in here because they needed this building. And I was so shocked to go in and find it exactly the way we left it. Nothing has been done. Nothing has changed. I just thought that was, oh my goodness, how long are we going to have to be in Edinburgh facilities? But that was one. Also, the empty offices in the annex building. There's a lot of them along. HR used to be there, other people. They're empty. There hasn't been anybody in there since we left. I don't understand that. The modular buildings, that one might be a little easier because I heard somebody say they were going to be finished on May the 25th. Now that's something to look forward to. Y'all think we're gonna make it? Okay. The office on North 10th Street, where I think Urban County was supposed to move into, didn't happen. They're somewhere else. They're not happy where they are. I don't know what's going on with the office on North 10th. I don't know. There's just too many things not done. And then we get to our telephone calls that we're getting and why we're getting them. And I think about the worker bees is what we call them. The people who come to work for the county, they're not high wages, and they put in a solid 8 hours a day. And then they see the higher paid people not have to put in 8 hours a day. And we're constantly asking for the step and grade to make things more fair. We were told you didn't say no to the step and grade, you just put it on hold. You're going to come back to it. When? What are we doing? The same way I picked up an old agenda from May 7th. There was the biometric electronic clock policy, the public accountability policy, the modified policy on leave for FLSA exempt employees. We put that on hold. This is May 21st, we haven't come back to it. If we had the biometric electronic clock policy, we might have clock in, clock out, and maybe we won't get all these telephone calls and letters. We got a letter, but they're complaining about people not clocking in, clocking out, being seen out in the town during the day. I just want you all, that's why I prayed especially for y'all, because I know what the burden is. I know you can't do everything, but I would surely start doing some of this stuff that is left undone, because it's too frustrating for me, but it's also not professional enough for you guys. I do ask you to take care of some of these things, address them, do something about them, and make sure all the time that there's fairness straight across the board for all our employees. Thank you.
Next presenter is Ann Cass.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm here to talk about the voting centers. I'm on that committee with many other people. At the first meeting that we had in La Jolla, we were told that those of us who are advocates for low and very low income people, particularly in the rural areas, could have our own committee. There was insinuations that the reason to go to voting centers was because of all the provisional ballots that were casted, and also the fact that schools were not wanting us to use them as a location, which we found out both of those instances were not really grounded by facts. First, I want to make sure that you understand I am in favor of voting centers. We asked for information so we could choose voting centers that would be in areas perhaps where there are a high number of people who are registered to vote but who don't vote. We were not able to get that information from the county. We had to go and do it on our own. The third meeting that we had, when committees were formed, we were told we could not have our own committee of nonprofits working with very low income people, that we each had to serve on one of the 4 precinct committees. that was fine. At our first precinct committee meeting, we were told that if we were going to get new locations, that we would need to get the pictures, the floor plans, the recommendation forms, but it was very clear to us that if we were going to choose polling locations that had been used by the county for 20, 30 years, we would not have to provide that information. Last night, we had another one of our committee meetings, and a personnel from ACT told us that we had to have pictures, floor plans, and recommendation forms for all of the locations, and if we did not have them done by tonight, that they would not be considered. And we are just beside ourselves. We don't have the time to go visit. We were covering the FAR area, the 10 locations, to take pictures, get floor plans, and have them in by tonight. We were also told that tonight there will be a meeting of the chairs and ACT personnel, and they will decide which of our recommendations they're going to keep. So it seems like there's also this desire to reduce the number of polling places. If it were up to me, I would just make all the polling places voting centers and go ahead from that. But the most problematic thing is what happened last week. I did see on the agenda that Ms. Ramon was going to have it was said public hearing. I assumed she was going to talk with you about the public hearings, because we had been told on May 2nd that there would be many public hearings and that we could have a public hearing in each of the precincts, which sounded to be very transparent. But I understand, and we were not told, nor were the committee chairpersons told, that last week here at the Commissioners Court that that was a public hearing and that that's the only public hearing she plans on having. We don't know how you can have a public hearing when we don't even know yet where the voting centers are going to be. We're volunteering our time for this. We're not being paid like other entities who are doing a great job. But for us, the process appears to be a mess. There's a lack of transparency, and we're very concerned why we're rushing through this at the last minute. Thank you.
Judge, in light of, I see a couple representatives that are on the committee, is there a way we can take item 14A, being the fact that I think there are others that are commenting on this item, for the sake of at least Ms. Ramon coming up and discussing the issues?
Item, what number?
It's 14A, Judge.
Yes, I think it's important because, I mean, I certainly believe that we were all trying to achieve transparency. That's why we appointed individuals like yourself, Ms. Cass, that are involved in accountability issues related to private nonprofits in a certain segment of our community. Okay, let's go ahead. Well, why don't we go ahead and then call agenda item number 14A. And we'll come back to open forum.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I noticed that under open forum, there's about 3 other individuals that want to speak on voting centers. Well, this would be the time to do it.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Item 14A is Vote Center Selection Committee update, and thank you for allowing me to speak out of turn, especially since I do have to be at McAllen ISD by noon, and I was a little concerned about that. I am passing out this handout, and there are enough for others in the audience to receive, because on February 5th, I believe is the exact date, I asked this court, as I had been asking the Elections Commission Board, permission to research vote centers. And in February, this court decided that this was a pilot program that Hidalgo County was interested in pursuing. So without having known that Ms. Cass was going to be up here, and I do want to clarify, I believe I heard some of the things that she said, and if I don't clarify some of them, please let me know. I do know that we have to work together toward this goal. There's change to be had in Hidalgo County, but it's good change, and I think this court recognized that when the permission was granted granted to move forward with the vote centers. But I always ask this court to please call me with any concerns, with any questions, with any suggestions, because we're always ready to answer your questions and not just to hear things that are being said that sometimes are not correct. Now, I had pass this out because I think that this is one of the critical points that you as the Commissioners Court need to understand. We have 823 voting machines. That's what this county has. We had less, but during Senate Bill 100, my department purchased 120 more. You know, with rigor, with the budget, with everything we went through, we went ahead and purchased more. So we have 823. We are taking a presidential, which was this past November 2012, and we used 544. Early voting had 182. Election day had 362. We had a voter turnout of almost 46%, but 70% of that turnout was during early voting. We had 99,767 votes go out to 25, actually it was 28 because we had mobile units, sites. Why? Because we feel that the voter was able to go to any location, not like Election Day, which had 74 sites and we had 26 turnout of the 141,155 votes. There were 74 locations that were being represented by their precinct. So when I came to you in February, we talked about all this, knowing that we have no statistics to base what will happen with Hidalgo County vote centers. Lubbock told you the same thing. They went through their very first vote center and then took the stats and then moved forward. And that's what we're doing. Now, Ms. Cass and others that are on the committee say from the very beginning, why can't we just keep all 74 locations and turn those into vote centers? It sounds like the right thing to do, except when you start looking at the vote center concept. We gave them all the statistics for their work. We gave them locations that already had pictures, that already had the cutouts, so that they would use that as a model from which to go out into their areas, look for other locations, or perhaps the same locations, but keep this in mind. A poll location is not a vote center. So if a location, for example, we send out 4 machines, is that location suited for a vote center where maybe we could put 10 machines? That was their job. So although they had pictures of some of the locations, that was simply for us to use as a model for them. They had a sheet that they had to measure. We had a member from the Texas Disability Rights of Texas come and speak to them and talk to them about the flow that we are looking at being ADA compliant. That was their job to do within this last 2-week period. We have already 3 committees that have done this. Some have already turned their work in. But if all we do then is have a concern without voicing it to us, then that is a concern. Last night, I got several texts from the location where they were having their meeting. We told them from the very beginning, this is your window. We have to submit to the Secretary of State, wait for their reply, and then submit to the Department of Justice. We don't have the kind of window that some of them would like. They want to turn in names, but the name is not sufficient. That was not why they were selected by you to be a member of this committee. They were supposed to go measure. We had the cutouts for them to lay on the floor.
You know what I'm beginning to see is I think this committee situation is getting a little bit out of hand.
Not really, sir. It's just one committee.
You need to put it in place, have a working committee. Not everybody's going to agree. So you can get a majority report that lay out all the pros and cons that they see, and the minority report saying, no, that's wrong, and then we can have one intelligent discussion with all of the issues, because I'm seeing it now. We're going to be getting about 5 or 6 people come up here to tell us their different positions, things that need to be voiced at the committee.
And one thing I think I heard, I came in at the end, was Ms. Cass say that they were told this last night. We have been meeting with the committee chairs. We had, and in fact, there are several people here in the audience that have been at these meetings where we have laid out the groundwork, the need of this committee to work in such a way that they come back with the information that then, Judge, will be turned into this court.
Right.
You all will have the ultimate decision.
If I may comment, you know, I've walked alongside with committee members through this process.
Mhm.
So being the fact that I have staff that actually looked at locations, distance of location, current locations, I thought it was a daunting task just for us.
It is, sir.
On a full-time basis, just to see whether or not what we're deciding to do on voting centers is going to affect the overall outcome of the people casting their votes. So I asked a dumb question about a couple days ago to Rosalie is, if we have the technology already where you can vote during early voting and it will cast your vote regardless of what district you live in, and you mentioned it earlier, why is it that we can't do that on election day at
And
the
that's what this
74
is.
sites?
Yes.
Without
Well-
hold on, without changing the sites.
Mhm.
Because the fear is if we change the sites, then we got to go spend money to go educate the general public of where they're going to respectively vote with the voting centers, or at least where the locations are. So that's the fear, is that if we're rushing through the process, that we're not going to fairly communicate with our, I mean, we have, how many registered voters do we have?
We have 300,000 average at any
Right.
given time.
And a lot of times, they're not looking at our commissioner meetings under public hearings, and I guarantee you that probably 90-some-odd% is oblivious to what we're deciding at this point in time, unless they're reading the newspaper or watching Commissioners Court. But that's my fear, is that we had done our due diligence, not just because of, the outcome's great, but the time factor of what we're trying to do is extremely aggressive for what we're, you know.
And let me just respond, please, to your comment, which sounds like a superb idea. But our legislators, in all their wisdom, Commissioner, realized that a poll location is not a vote center location, because we looked at the stats, we gave them the stats. Ms. Cass says that they requested information, but that it had nothing to do with vote centers. We're looking at election day. We're looking at only election day for November, not May, not primaries, not special elections, November. When we look at the vote center concept, it is a process that will grow with us. First year, the law says that you may reduce to 65%. It doesn't say you have to, which is why I responded to you last week saying, where is our need? And we gave them all the poll locations with the voter turnout. Now, Ms. Cass has a different goal. She wants to know those voters that don't vote. That is a totally different concept from their job right now. It's a very important concept, and there are so many people out there finding out why our voter turnout is so low. We also have the concept of the metro, and we said to them, this is your job to do. And Commissioner, if anyone knows how difficult it is to find poll locations, it's us, because we do this for every single election. We go to the same location from the last election, and guess what they say to us? Not this time. Not at this time. We're having testing. It's not conducive at this time. And so although the law says that a public building must be a poll location, we're not going to get into those kinds of altercations. We move on and look for another location to make it ADA compliant, to do all those things that the committee members, and like I said, 3 of the 4 committees have done this. No one said to anyone they could not participate. Judge was there at these meetings. No one said you can't participate, but it was going to be hard work. And we did tell them this from the beginning. This was not something to leave for the day before things are due. This was not something to leave till the last moment. And why is it that 3 of the other committees have already turned in their work, that it's all done? Because ACT came in and they offered themselves, all of them. All of them. They have the time during the day. They took the pictures. They turned these things in. So what I'm saying is that when I was called last night. Yes, sir.
Ivan, I know you're trying,
Yes, sir.
but I think that the court interest is to make it, let's say, easier but accessible to the voting population.
That's correct.
Participate.
That's what we're doing.
And I'm hoping the committee is of the same opinion. I, for one, am looking to increase the opportunity for people to participate in the process, to make it easier for them to go and vote.
Exactly.
So without saying with preferences, I'd rather do this or that. But come up with a solution or an opportunity for people to participate and encourage the participation and reach out to as many voters as we can.
And that's where we're headed,
We're
Commissioner.
not trying to reduce, at least I'm not looking to reducing the number of locations.
Yes, sir.
Now, where they're located maybe make a difference, but basically that's what I'm looking.
And Commissioner, that's the second phase. Once these locations are selected by you, then I'm already working with Public Affairs. I'm already working with ACT. In fact, I need to bring to court because they received a grant, ACT did, and they would like to share the monies of the publication with the county. So I'm getting ready to bring that to court. Sure. That is the second phase. This phase is the selection of the locations, simply.
I just want to say, I think everybody's heart's in the same place. I think the objective is clear. I think that we just need to, obviously, we're having problems in the committee level. So I think that.
Only at one committee, sir. The rest of the committee members, and I don't know.
Well, where did we go, Yvonne, from having one to having four? I mean, why do we need to have four committees? Can't you just have the same committee look at all of the issues?
And we're going to. And we're going to, but,
Judge.
Judge.
I think you're complicating it. Now you're leaving it up to personalities within one committee versus the other.
No, sir. No, sir. That's not how it is. It's just that if we compare ourselves to Lubbock, Lubbock has one large city, Lubbock, and they are 1/3 the size of Hidalgo County. You yourselves have commented, Commissioner, you've been there, how difficult it is to go from one end to another. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine going from from the east all the way to the west? Plus, the committee members are knowledgeable of their area. And so, like I mentioned last week, Precinct 3, like that they had it done because they knew their areas. One of the committee members runs elections for the school district of Mission, knew exactly what was pro and what was con.
Well, maybe our problem is the people that are on the committee. We ought to include more people like that individual.
They are included, Judge. They are members of the committee. Where we're having issues are perhaps concerns with those committee members that have not yet gone out. For example, last night I was asked if they could just turn in a name because that location had been used before. But that's how I started my discussion. Maybe for 3 or 4 machines, but what about for 10 or 12? Is the room large enough? That was their job. We provided them with everything for them to go and do that. And it wasn't done, and now they just want to turn in a name. That means that now we have to turn around and get that done when it was a committee of members. The others, and like I said, I think Ms. Barnes is here and can talk to how hard she worked and how dedicated their team was.
Ms. Ramon.
Yes.
Let me suggest that utilize our public information office to put out information. Everybody's concerned and everybody should participate. But Karina probably could be some value to you, to make the public aware of what you're looking at.
And we are, sir. We are. Like I said, we cannot make the public aware before we have the locations in place, though. And that is our plan for as soon as this is over. That's phase 2. But we cannot make the public aware without us being accepted by the state and by to even pursue this, because all I did was turn in a letter of intent. And with this work that we are doing now, I now have to turn in the plan. And I cannot do that and publicize without knowledge.
We're going to have to cut this short because we got some individuals that have some deadlines.
I just want to make a correction, though. It's the committee for Precinct 4, and I'm on the committee for Precinct 2. They have not turned in all their information. We were under...
They have what? Can you get closer to that mic?
I'm sorry. There are 2 out of the 4 committees that did not understand that using the old polling sites that we had to do all this work for. Committee number 4 and committee number 2. I'm on 2, but I also know that the committee working on Precinct 4 did not have this information. So 2 out of 4 is 50% did not have adequate information. It wasn't just one committee.
And we have been in constant contact with the chair from committee too.
Do
'cause
the
it's not
other
really a
individuals
precinct.
that have signed up to speak, do you really feel like you need to make?
And if I may just finish, Judge, the Vote Center Committee is to turn in their packets today, because then we need to turn around and prepare the packets for you, this court, and then turn around.
You're not ready to do that.
Well,
There's
like
too
I said,
much
we already have the majority of the work in
Why don't you
our
work on a
hands.
committee report, the majority report, the minority report? That'll lay out the problems, the dissension, why it exists, and we can look at it, and then we can address specific issues.
If I may.
Let me give an opportunity for some of these two individuals that have this burning desire to address this. If you don't mind, I'm going to limit it to 2 minutes, because we have some young people that are going to need to go back to school.
Okay, I will talk as quickly as possible. First, I want to thank both Commissioners Palacios for them and their staff meeting with us and our members in the past couple of weeks. What I wanted to say regarding the vote centers is that I'm honored to be part of the committee, and I believe in the concept of vote centers. My problem is that I serve on both Precinct 2 and 4 committee, and there was not clear understanding of some of the things. And we weren't talking about just submitting the name. We were talking about submitting the sheets with all the information, and that we did not have to take photos. And then last night we were told if we did not have the photos, don't bother turning it in. And this is by somebody that supposedly was texting with someone at the office. My primary concern is that Travis County took 3 years before they went into this process. They took 3 years to study, research, figure it all out, and we're doing it in 3 months. And that concerns me. We work primarily...
If it's going to take 3 years to determine whether it's a good thing to do, it's not worth it.
Well, that is true, but we understand that early voting is the bread and butter of elections. These last 2 elections in May and November of 2012, the nonprofits and the Equal Voice Network pushed hard for early voting. We pushed hard for early voting because of the redistricting. Voters were confused. They did not know where to go, and now we're going to do this to them and change polling locations on them again.
If we do anything to them, it's because we think it helps, and if it doesn't help, we're not going to do it. Now, I think you need to concentrate and work within your committee to come up with a report. We cannot run your committee from the Commissioners Court level.
We're mainly concerned because there has been a subtle push to reduce the amount of polling locations, and that is something you all need to be aware of.
There has been a what?
A subtle push to reduce the amount of polling locations. We're growing. We have over 300,000 registered voters, and we should be adding polling locations instead of taking away.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So,
all right, Ms. Weisfeld, you got 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that we've been working very, very hard on this with not very much statistical data to be able to afford you the opportunity to base your decisions on hard data. And I want to first talk about Travis County, because what they did, you said 3 years, that took too long. What they did was they tested every single location. They also maintained every polling location. So there is a precedent for maintaining polling locations, and they added polling locations. They have almost 200 polling locations on Election Day, and that's during the general election. For the constitutional election, they used 134. Now, their plan was that they converted their Election Day polling sites to county-wide vote centers. The desire was to preserve traditional voting locations so as not to disrupt learned patterns of voting while adding new locations as options in heavily trafficked areas. Now, I'm also very concerned that you held a public hearing during the county commission meeting that was not in the true spirit of the law. You have redistricting, you have new roadways, you build drainage projects, you have public hearings in every single county commission area. This change that you're talking about making is a major change that will affect every single voter in this county. personally, and you have not afforded them the opportunity to give their opinions, to explain what their desires are in terms of voting and where. Now, not even the committee members, nor I, as a committee chair, was notified of this, and to me, that smacks of voter suppression. What you're trying to do is going to suppress, could possibly suppress the vote. You
Ms.
could
Weisfeld,
also...
we have, how many members are there in the committee? There's got to be somewhere between 25 to 50. We try to be inclusive, people from throughout the county.
They are.
Nobody is trying to be kept out. In fact, if somebody raised their hand, say, I want to be a member, we approved it.
That's right, and let me tell you that we have not had the opportunity in Committee 4, and we have other members from Committee 4 here, you will hear that we did vote to maintain all of the current polling locations
But do you,
in
did
Edinburgh.
You
have 12 polling locations in Edinburgh. The proposal that was given to us right here in writing from the election administrator is to reduce it down to 6, and that is for the entire area from Commissioner Palacio's district in Edinburgh all the way north to the county line, and from Commissioner Palacios and Commissioner Flores' area. 6 in that entire area, that is not enough. You are asking for danger. And then this...
Rosalie, is there any way that you could take care of your committee, these issues at your committee? Prepare a report, the majority, people vote on it.
We already have prepared a majority report, and our majority report says maintain all of the current polling locations.
Make sure that the minority sees it and that they prepare their minority report, and then we can look at it so that instead of having a match here about situations, we can intelligently discuss it.
And I think that's very important. Intelligence is important, and intelligence should be working smart and planning smart. And as the election administrator has indicated, she's given us 18 days. So forget 3 years, 18 days to do this project that covered over the period of early voting and election day from the school and city elections, which many of our members were involved with. I want to tell you also that we were fortunate that we had some of your staff, some of the staff members from the commissioners that were on the committee who did support the idea of keeping the polling locations as in an effort not to disenfranchise voters, because the poorest voters are the ones that are going to have the most difficulty getting to polling locations. And we've already been told by the election administrator that's not our problem as to how people get to the vote. It is our concern, though. It's our deep concern, because by disenfranchising the poorest voters, majority of them who are minority members, they are covered and protected by the Voter Protection Act. And the last thing I want to see is for the county commissioners to waste money getting involved in a lawsuit. And that's where this could go, because you're going to be having a tremendous impact in reducing the number of polling locations, which could disenfranchise all those people that walk to the polling locations. ARP, as a matter of fact, yes, I am that age now. Can you believe that? The latest ARP bulletin came out. It says, need a ride? And right here it says, 20% of Americans 65 years of age and older don't drive. What are the statistics here in Hidalgo County? We don't know. So,
all right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Judge, can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, it wasn't laid out, but for Ms. Ramon, what is the or what would it take, whether there's a financial burden to do the same thing as we always do, but open every poll location to be able to vote? At the end of the day, you're able to vote whether it's a one poll location on election day or the other.
Well,
can you?
I think
if you can't answer that right now,
Yes,
Ms.
I
Ramon,
can.
just give you some time.
Yes, I can. And I have brought up, and Rosalie has brought up Travis County, and I have spoken to every member there that is a decision maker, Commissioner, and court. And the reason they were able to not keep all the locations, because they didn't keep 100% of them, and they are in the process of reducing locations. But the reason they were able to was because with Senate Bill 100, the cities got together, they bought machines, and they gave them to the county. Now, their budget is way over $1 million. They have a large voter population. They're high in stats. But Commissioner, the whole point of it is the bottom line. In talking to the Director of Elections, he says, we went ahead and now we're looking, we're researching, and we are going to start reducing. We didn't have to. Hidalgo County is special from all other counties. Their counties, the cities don't like to run their elections. They like for the county to run them. It's not that way here. The cities, it's mainly the schools that we run, but the city secretaries run their own elections. Therefore, there is not enough equipment to share with everyone.
But see, that's my point, is what would it take to do the same as we always do, but on election day, allow a voter to go to any site to cast their vote on election day? If that calls for additional machines or additional help, what can the commissioners see that would allow us to at least adopt a step process into getting into vote centers, not just jumping from one to the next, from doing what we traditionally do to jumping into voting centers?
And you know, Commissioner, I don't even know if you all noticed this, but this constitutional, we don't ever have 74 locations. We have 40. Have any of you ever noticed that? That we only have 40 locations on election day every other year during a constitutional? No, because we always look at the statistics. We always look at the higher voter turnout. And
Yvonne, what would it
this is
cost
how
to
it's
get
done. I'm sorry?
74. Right now, we've got 28 early voting sites where anybody can go in to vote. And now, on election day, we have 74.
Yes, sir.
They're trying to suggest that we ought to have those 74 locations be locations where anybody can go in to vote in any particular race.
Yes, sir.
What would the cost be?
Well, we would have to then look at their reports, which they were supposed to have seen how many machines can be added.
It's not that difficult to figure out. I mean,
But it is, Judge, because a vote center, for example, a poll location may have had 3 or 4 machines.
but those are the issues you need to look at and for us to consider.
And that's what we were going to look at from their reports. They were supposed to go measure and give us the max number of machines with a good flow for ADA compliance. That was their job to do.
And I think the committee is, right now, I see it as being, I don't want to be critical, but maybe we need to bring in more people to the committee that are involved in the election process, like the city clerks, like in the school districts, the people that are involved in running the elections.
And we did invite
For the county
them.
involvement, and get them into that same room where the present committee is, not divide it up, or if you do, make sure that you divide it up with people that are knowledgeable about their respective areas.
Exactly, Judge, you're absolutely right. For example, Eli is working, in fact, at our chair meeting on Thursday. I asked him to go and visit with McAllen City Secretary because they had left out various poll locations that I know are important to the election process.
All
So
right.
he was going to go visit with
Prepare a
them.
letter then and send it out, maybe from the court, asking all these different individuals to become actively involved in this committee process, to become members of the committee.
And you'll see that some of them are, Judge.
And we need to change our perspective. It's not their duty, my duty, it's our duty at the end of the day. That's what I want to clarify, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing.
Ms.
is make
Barnes, is
voting
there really
centers.
something you need to say?
Yeah, it was a hard job. I don't know where she got all her information, have no clue. But we finished ours up yesterday. 3 of us on the committee was all that ended up on this committee that were willing to help. So 3 of us finished it up, just took the ball, ran with it, talked to people, got our measurements, did everything we had to do. And it was hard. And I realized where I went, the buses don't run. When was the last bus you saw going to McCook or Hargill? They don't go there. They just don't go there. So it can be done if everybody's following the same set of rules.
All right. Thank you.
And she never said to reduce anything. We wanted more vote centers, vote places for people to
She
go.
gave it to us in writing.
All right.
Let me see.
I think good.
Right there, 6.
And I will go ahead and
Why don't you let us know
explain.
when your next committee meeting is, and the members of the court that can make it will be there.
And thank you,
let's-
sir. And just so that, for clarification, since it's so fresh in your mind, she says that there in that report, please know that that report, the first poll location was a recommendation, and we gave the pictures and the measurements, everything that they needed. But Judge, what I said was, it is your decision. You go to your area, you find the locations that are suitable for a vote center, and you recommend. Commissioner, I told you this last week when you asked me for a number. I said, it's not about a number, it's about the need. Thank you.
And it's
All right,
about
thank
the
you.
voters and the people, and please give them an opportunity to speak and have public hearings.
Thank you. All right, the next item we need to come back to is,
Item 6B, Judge.
I'm gonna, open forum is still gonna be there, but right now I need to recognize these young people. Item 6B.
Item 6B is recognition of Hidalgo County Beta interns, and thank you, Judge. I understand that the students do need to get back to their school and finish up the year.
Well, I hope you've been interested in the discussions and that you've learned something. This is democracy at work, county government at work.
Yes, it's been a good lesson today, Ms. Showery. I'd like to introduce Ms. Nachla Showery, if she can come up and join me at the podium with the rest of the students. As part of an internship program at South Texas Independent School District Business Education and Technology Academy, Commissioners Court approved the appointment of 4 high school students in various county departments. This provided real-life experience for the students that extended beyond the classroom. The appointed interns at Hidalgo County were interested in criminal justice, the court system, public affairs, and the program matched their interests and placed the students in the following offices: 92nd District Court, Indigent Defense Department, Information Technology Department, Criminal Justice Software, and the County Judge's Office Public Affairs Division. The students devoted 2 hours a day, 2 days a week for the entire spring 2013 semester. So we'd like to recognize the interns that were placed in Hidalgo County offices with a special certificate of participation. And we'll start with, the County of Hidalgo presents the certificate of participation to Marisela Prieto for your successful completion of the Beta internship program with the 92nd District Court. Congratulations. Thank you. We would also like to recognize Marcela Hernandez Flores for her successful completion of the Beta internship program with the IT Department Criminal Justice Software Division. Congratulations. I'm personally very excited to present this certificate of participation to Ms. Cecilia Garza. She was placed in our office in the Public Affairs Division, and she did an excellent job. She was a wonder to have. Great to see her smiling face. Very dedicated to the work. Thank you. And last but not least, we'd like to present the certificate of participation to Juanita Isabel Rea for her successful completion of the Beta internship program with the Indigent Defense Department, presented on this day, May 21st, and signed by County Judge Ramon Garcia. Thank you. Ms. Showery, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you very much.
I apologize for me going in and out, but we are on a bus schedule. Thank you so much, Commissioners. Thank you so much, Judge, for allowing our students to come. They were so excited about all the work they did. They learned so much about life. Even today, we learned so much about life, about voting issues, and how important it is to get involved in your community. These are half of our interns. We have about 22 out. I guarantee, Judge, we have more boys in this year's program than last year. I'd like to introduce our students just real quick because the bus is waiting for us. Tyler Scott, State Vice President of Business Professionals of America. He was placed in Dr. Moncado's plastic surgery. Carla Villarreal, please stand up as I call your name. She's with the UT Pan American Alumni Association. Let's see, then we have 2 legal students, see Gabby and Delilah, please, with Jim Darling in the Renaissance Center. Camila Gomez, he was Marcos Barrera Law Firm. Sarai Suarez with Renaissance Physical Therapy. Israel and Sean with Affinity Wear Designers. And Jorge Caso with Bobby Guerra's Law Firm. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for all you do for us. And God bless Hidalgo County.
Thank you, Ms. Showery. You want to take a picture over here?
Okay, thank you all so much. If we can take a picture with the court.
Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you, ladies. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We're all very proud of the interns. Good luck to you, Ms. Shower. We look forward to partnering with you again next year. Thank you.
Parte de la clase, ¿no? All right, let's complete open forum. We have Opal Billman.
Wait.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Opal Billman. Court is the place where people go when they have a dispute to be settled by law or under the law. Joe wanted a divorce, which requires a fair and legal settlement of property owned jointly and under the law equally by Joe and me. It was the court's only job. I have never heard of such a settlement as was handed down by the judge. His decisions were, our community property is land which cannot be divided. All land can be divided. And our land is excess land with no value. Nothing is for nothing. All land has value. I don't recognize any law in these decisions, but that was it for a divorce settlement of the community property owned by Joe and me, between Joe and me. The judge awarded us none of our community property and no money for it. Beginning at this point, it was no longer about a divorce settlement of our community property for Joe and me, but instead getting the ownership of our property away from us, the two owners, and into the name of a third party. The case now became all about ownership of our community property, as long as ownership is not Joe's and ownership is not mine. The judge appointed a beneficiary and deeded all of our land to him. The judge has no authority under the law to give away our community property for free, which he did anyway. Show me the law. There is an old saying, the end justifies the means. In this case, the means is fraud, and the end is the theft of our community property through the courthouse. Joe and I own assets of value. If rich capitalists are permitted to function above the law through our court system and just take over private property that they want, our system of justice has been compromised. Joe was paid no money for any of his lifetime of work and investments.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
I was paid no money for my lifetime of work and investments. That was the plan. To achieve their goal of walking away with all of our community property, Joe and I were just collateral damage. In other words, in their way. Since the judge's decision so many years ago, the case has remained active. The action is to secure owners of our community property to the third party. As a part of these activities, I have been held for 16 years in police-enforced false imprisonment. Recently, 3 women were found imprisoned. The authorities did not say, it's not my job, or get your own lawyer, or I will not investigate the case. No, the authorities put a stop to the criminal imprisonment. This is America. The court cannot entangle the private property of citizens and keep it. It's against the law. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, item 7, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Judge, actually, I think, Judge, we still need item 6C.
I don't have any, well, go ahead.
Okay,
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to let y'all know, I guess y'all saw in the news that we got the unanimous support.
I think everybody's been reading about it in the paper, and we've been able to get what we wanted as a result of the compromise bill that has been approved by both houses now.
Yeah, and today they're going to concur in the Senate. Once they do that today, then they'll get it to the governor.
Right, then it'll go to the governor for signature, and if that happens, years 1 and 2 will be in Hidalgo County, 3 and 4 will be in Harlingen, and the residencies will be wherever the hospitals are. And the administration buildings will be where?
Yeah, what the amendment says that they'll require the Office of Undergraduate Medical Education to be located in Hidalgo County, and that they will require the Office of Graduate Medical Education to be located in Cameron, and then it also requires the students of all 4 years of the medical education to take full advantage of the facilities and educational programs in all 3 campuses of UTPA, UTB, and the RAC in both Harlingen and Edinburgh. And it does remove that advisory committee, which was key to getting this along further than
Right.
study. So that was the big key, and I know you've testified numerous times, Judge, so we just want to be for the record, everybody understood what we have today. So.
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Go ahead, Valde.
Thank you, Judge. 7A, 1 and 2, no action at this time unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. There is no action under 7B, 1, 3. Item 7C, I am asking the Commissioners Court to accept the settlement check from the Hartford Fire General Agency, Inc. In the amount of $507.82, and this will settle an auto accident with one of our county vehicles.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item 7E, Judge Commissioners, for the record, I'm asking action to request, it's a request from Lineberger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson, which are our tax attorneys. They're asking to use the courthouse auditorium for a public auction of properties Saturday, June 22nd, 2013 of this year. They had previously requested to use it on June the 1st, so they have subsequently asked us to move that from June 1st to June 22nd, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Esther?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm here on item 8A for Precinct 4, approval of the following personnel actions: to delete slot 73, Budget Analyst 2 at 42,354, and to create slot 77, Coordinator 3 at 42,354.
Move for approval.
Need a second? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Would that be for item 1 and 2,
One
the
and two.
approval of the revised salary schedule?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And B, for the Sheriff's Department, approval to remove clothing allowances for the following. It's $500 for each slot: slot 091, 132, 114, 198, and 055.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item number 2 would be to authorize clothing allowances, also $500 for slots 156, 170, 200, 207, and 211.
This is within the policy, right?
Sir?
This is within the policy.
Yes, sir.
Move for approval.
Judge,
Second.
the agenda item said effective on 5/20th, but today is already after the 20th, I believe.
Yeah, Monday was the 20th.
It has to be 5/21.
I'm sorry?
It can't be retroactive.
Right, but it says next full pay period, but the next full pay period will be the next week, I believe.
Well, I think-
I think it was submitted that way, but,
I think it was the intent was.
So
right.
it should be for next pay period of,
Well, the intent was probably for today, but there was a typo. It says 20 instead of the 21st.
Right, so as Mr. Crane pointed out, I think the intent was for the beginning of this pay period, but given the fact that court action is being taken today, then there's going to be a difference of 1 day. So it would be from today on, as opposed to starting yesterday.
okay.
It's a one cost.
1 day difference, yes.
All
So,
right.
because it'll be effective the next pay period.
No, Mr. Ufracio. I believe the intent was for this beginning pay period. Yesterday started the pay period.
Okay, I got you.
And so there's a day difference, so since court's taking action today, it'll start today. So
Right.
it'll be 9 days versus a full 10 days of this pay period.
Right,
But
Mr.
Steve said that it cannot be retroactive.
Right.
That's why it's effective today.
Today.
Okay, so the
All right.
21st?
We have a
As
motion,
approved by the court.
and do we have a second?
Second with the
For
clarification.
that is 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Oh, 2 and
Those in
3.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Health Department?
Sir, go ahead.
Good morning. Mike Escalame from the Health Department. Mr. Olivares is out of town today. He asked me to present the Health Department agenda items. On 10A, there's no action on 10A. On 10B, agenda item 38758, requesting approval of tuberculosis funding letter of intent and authorization for a county judge to sign letter. This has to do, sir, with the TB grant funding for fiscal year 14, which will start in September. For the past 4 years, the Hidalgo County Health Department has been receiving about $880,000 in TB grant funding. And the state has revised their funding allocation formula, and they now require that each local health department contribute at least 20% with local funding. In the past, the health department has been contributing about 30%. And so we don't foresee any issues with meeting this 20% match that they require now. And since the match is actually coming from health department staff that work within the TB program, we don't foresee any additional impact to general fund other than what's already been appropriated.
So, Commissioner, I was going to ask, so are you saying that you're going to use the 20% match as an in-kind?
It's actually cash match, although there's some misconception that people consider it in kind, but it's actually a cash match because the staff that we're going to utilize actually get paid with county money, and so it actually converts into cash. So we meet the match with.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, I'm going to ask Mr. Ramirez to present item C, the payment of the telephone services.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners, and this has been a recurring thing. To not get overly technical or long-winded, we're pretty much caught up getting all the circuits, all the various services the county receives, over 32 different bills at different addresses. We've got them all consolidated at this point. We've got them into the contract pending some status. What we're trying to do now is just catch up and pay the older invoices that were off contract, so that's what this claim is. So I would request approval for 10C, which be approval to process the payment of the claim as listed on the item.
Mr. Ramirez, are you asking for permission to pay at the old rates or contract rates or whatever rate the invoices include?
Well, in this case, Verizon Southwest, the rate did not change on Verizon.
Okay.
In this particular case.
Whatever the invoice
Those
rates
in
are.
favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion
Sir,
carries.
since I'm up here as well, Judge, I would like to take on item 17A, which is the WIC program, and we've got the same situation with claims. We're just catching up on the old bills. They have multiple locations, so these are the phone numbers at all the locations. I've sat down with WIC, and we went over line by line by line to confirm that these were the amounts. This is the actual old rate. The local service price did not go up. What happens is it was not on a contract. We have it now on the contract, so because it was off, we are requesting claims. It's the same amounts.
So you're asking to pay the actual rates that they're being
Yes, sir, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Those
That's
in
listed on
favor
17A.
say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
And Judge, Commissioners, for the record, it is AT&T and Verizon invoices.
AT&T and Verizon invoices for the record. Thank you.
All right, item 11.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Oscar Montoya, Emergency Management. I have nothing to report unless y'all have some questions for me, Court.
Thank you, sir. Item 12. Good morning.
Good morning. Maribel Navarro with the Community Service Agency, requesting approval to accept an additional CAP Comprehensive Energy Assistance Program contract for 2013. And this is in the sum of $1,997,280. This is for this is a short-term period contract from April to July 31st. There are old additional monies that are being made available that need to be spent. And so the state office has gone ahead and provided this additional contract. It was approved legally on May 8th. I know that was a concern that the auditor had, but I did get a clearance for legal review.
Move to approve. Check. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Urban County, item 13.
Judge, Commissioners. Our first item on the agenda is requesting the authorization to amend the subrecipient agreement with Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley from the Emergency Solutions Grant. We are recommending the amendment that will not change the current budget, but will increase additional funds for the homeless prevention activities.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item B is requesting the authorization to amend is on behalf of the City of Palmview, requesting the approval of a best and final negotiated contract for professional engineering services with Sames INC in the amount of $22,435.45 for the Benson Palm Bridge project.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Okay, items C, for the record, Judge, I'd like to disclose to the public this project is a project in which OC
Yeah, no, I've already
Construction.
signed the abstention. I'm going to be abstaining, and
Yeah.
I'll sign the affidavit.
In order for me to request the waiver, Judge, I would need to have you step away so that I can actually get the waiver from HUD.
Well, then you've got a problem.
Then you're going to lose a quorum.
Yeah, we lose a quorum.
There's nobody in the back? Uh-oh.
Is this the item
Then-
related to OG?
Yes, it is.
Is it proper for the county to spend monies for a contract with a company that has any potential conflict?
I've already provided a letter to Yvonne addressed to the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, explaining what the law is and requesting an exemption from HUD.
As I've told you in the past, Mr. Ofracio, there is a regulation under federal government, 24 CFR 570-611, which
We're going to
indicates.
skip that item and
Judge,
come back.
I think if, as long as he didn't participate in the discussion,
I just wanted to make sure that we would actually be able to obtain the waiver since there is a time restriction here.
well, I was just thinking, if he didn't participate in the discussion, and he lets Commissioner Palacios chair the meeting for this item, I think as long as he sits here, he establishes a quorum, but he would not participate in discussion and not
All right.
vote.
Whatsoever.
But my question has to do with communicating with the state in reference to this item.
It's actually with the federal government, Mr. Ofracio. The regulation is very specific. I am supposed to make a disclosure of the relationship.
Right.
I am also supposed to get an attorney's opinion regarding the violation of state or local law. And then I'm supposed to get the court to approve it, and I forward my request to HUD, in which they will make the determination, not this office.
Not the state?
Excuse me?
All right, let's proceed.
Not the state of
Item,
Texas.
Not the state of
Judge,
Texas.
why don't you have Commissioner Palacios call the item?
Okay.
And you can check all those items.
I'm sorry?
You can check all the items
Okay.
with the state.
I have the opinion already.
I've already
That-
drafted the opinion and provided
I have the opinion in my possession. All I need to do is have the action taken.
Keep everything's in place.
Everything's in place except for this action item here.
Okay. And if I can read, Commissioner Palacios? The very first request is requesting the acceptance and action to adjust the extension to reflect the additional $3,000 and increase the grant total amount from $285,632.45 to $288,632.45.
Move to approve.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
For the record, I'm abstaining.
One.
Thank you, Judge. Item B is.
Yeah, motion carries.
Item B, Commissioner, is on behalf of the Precinct 1 requesting the consideration and action to award and enter into a construction contract with OG Construction LLC for the base bid. Although I have on there that we were recommending $304,982, we are at this time requesting your approval of only the base bid of $288,632.45. This, of course, will be pending legal review.
Move to approve.
There's a motion. I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One abstention.
I thank you so very much, and I will advise you as soon as I get the waiver. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Item 15, our AgriLife Extension Service.
Judge Commissioners, I'll be presenting that for the AgriLife. Judge Commissioners, I'm asking action with respect to a reimbursement to Ms. Munoz, Adelita F. Munoz. The dollar amount is $90.42, and these are expenses that were incurred at the South Region FCS retreat. As always, we're asking this with authority of the county treasurer to issue check after auditing procedures are completed by our county auditor's office.
Mr. Guerra,
Yes,
the
sir.
reason this was a claim because it didn't comply with the county's travel policy? I'm assuming the reason that there's a claim for this expense because it didn't comply with the county's travel policy.
No, Mr. Fraser, remember that these are our ag agents.
No, I know who they are. I'm just saying that normally I pay any reimbursement for travel expenses.
Right.
And they don't come to the court.
Right, no, if I'm not mistaken, and again, I can look at it, we'll check it, but if I'm not mistaken, this was just an oversight with respect to asking for the expenses that would be incurred as for meals. Okay, so again, Judge Commissioner, if I could have action to that effect, or to this action request, I'm
Those in
sorry.
favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. All right.
Good
Head
morning.
Start program.
Yes, the first item is the discussion and approval to disperse lump sum summer paychecks to staff who resign as of the last leave day, summer leave day, or the last working day for the position assigned. And this is to help us with recruiting and filling positions, especially classroom positions. And so this is, has been a practice with our program for a while.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next item is discussion and approval of the program calendar for program year 2013-2014, and it has been through Policy Council, and of course, there's a vote that's taken from the staff when we do this calendar.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item-
Excuse me, Teresa.
Yes.
I'm bothered by the word disperse. Should it be disperse? Or what are you
It's
trying to do?
It's dispersed. It should be dispersed. That's the wrong word. You're correct.
Right. I want to make sure we take the correct action.
Yes, I am sorry. It's dispersed.
All right, go ahead.
Correct it. Okay. Item C has to do with all the program plans that we have in place for program operations and to carry on the goals and objectives of the program. We have 9. We have child nutrition services, education, family services, health services, human resources, mental health services, special services, transition, and transportation. Each one of those plans has been through a committee process, and we have the committees made up of community members as well as professionals in those areas, and parents, and of course, staff. And then they've gone to Policy Council for approval. It is a program requirement that we have those plans in place, especially the health services plan. The rest of them we have added as part of a measure to improve the quality of services to our children and our families.
They were all approved by the Policy Council?
Yes, yes, sir.
Move for approval on 1 through 9.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D is requesting exemption from competitive bidding under the Texas Local Government Code 262.024A4 for professional services to provide medical, dental, mental health services, sign language interpreter services, and to Head Start children. And so we're requesting exemption for that.
Move for approval.
Check.
No, she spoke. Do we have a second?
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The second part is presentation of responses received for the purposes of Commissioners Court accepting the providers as qualified in order to proceed to the next phase of the procurement process, negotiating contracts. And the presentation, the responses were from, for medical and dental, we have Nuestra Clínica del Valle for medical, Dr. Bose, Industrial and Family Medical Medicine, DBA Industrial Health Works, and that's for medical. Then we have Dr. Mira Mohammed Adi for dental services, and then we have Nuestra Clínica del Valle for dental services. Then for mental health, we have Professional Counseling Services, PLLC,
Anita Sandoval, Tony Guzman, DBA, Guzman and Associates, Esmeralda Meave, Marisela Medrano. We want to delete Maria C. Quilantan Diaz because she did not meet requirements. We want to continue with Challenges and Change, PLLC, and Anita Flores, and finally Generations Growing Together Incorporated. All met the requirements and all are for the area of mental health. Then for speech interpretive services, it's Amy Hermanson, Sign Language Interpreters LLC, doing business as a sign language company. And those are all the areas that we have received responses to those for those services. We are recommending that you approve all of them,
Move for approval.
except the Quilantan that I mentioned.
And just for the record, you're approving to negotiate, not to
Yes,
approve.
to
the contract.
negotiate, yes.
Second. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next area, we're looking at approval for the Head Starts to negotiate contracts, and we are looking for legal counsel to review and finalize that, and so that if you are approving the process of negotiating the contract, that the contract would reflect legal counsel's corrections or any kinds of areas there. Is that?
I'm not quite sure what this item means.
Mr. Garcia? On the contracts? The direction was that the contract needed to be reviewed by legal counsel, and there were some issues with it?
Correct. I think you had some concerns, Steve, and there were...
I do have concerns,
Okay.
but the action item was, number 2 was to proceed to negotiate a contract.
Right.
And so item 3 would be no action. Once you successfully negotiate the contract, have it approved by legal, then you bring the contracts back for approval by the court.
So the third item needs to come back? Okay.
No, well, all these items need to
Oh,
come
yeah.
back.
You're talking about-
Once the contracts have been negotiated and approved, then you have to bring the contracts back to court for their approval.
But item 1 and 2 are not to be done independent of 3?
Once we negotiate the contract, Steve, you want it back.
That's what I'm saying, is once you
Okay.
negotiate the contract, you bring it back.
Which is item 3, correct?
Item 3 is no action.
Right. Item 1 and 2 for action, item 3, no action.
Correct.
What do we do with 3?
It's no action because until they negotiate the contract, they'll bring the contract back, once they negotiate, to the Commissioners Court for review and
All right.
approval.
Next item?
Yes. So was there a vote on the 1 and 2?
1 and 2, yes, a vote.
Okay.
That's what we had voted on.
Okay. The next item is on discussion and approval of audit findings and corrective action plan for the Child Audit Care Food Program. 3 items were listed as needing to be corrected. The meal monitoring must include all meal types, which is breakfast, lunch, and snack. And we were not monitoring all of them equitably, and so they're requesting that we do that. And then the second item had to do with monitoring every 6 months. This was an oversight. One of the monitoring times had to do with taking care of it immediately after school started because it included the summer months, and so that's been also addressed. And then the third one had to do with the meal count must be recorded at the time of distribution. And we had one center where the meals were served, and immediately afterwards, the count has to be recorded. And so the teacher has to take time to do the count because we do family style serving. And so all of those were submitted with a corrective action plan. The corrective action plan has also been approved, and so we're sending this information for approval.
Are you going to lose any funding on this?
Pardon?
Are we going to lose any funding?
No, there was no adverse action related to any of these.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
The last one has to do with a discussion and approval of memorandum of understanding between the Hidalgo Head Start program and the University of Texas Pan American.
Move for approval.
What is
The memorandum of understanding is for the use of 2 classrooms at Pan American University, which we've been using for several years.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa. All right, next item is 19.
Morning, Judge Commissioner Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 19A is approval of appropriation of funds for the Justice Court Building Security Fund in the amount of $83,061.25. This is for security equipment and installation of the JP Precinct 1 offices.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 20, purchasing.
Is this normal? Is this how much we spend on all the JP precinct offices?
This is for the new center, no?
I know.
For the new offices.
I know. I've been down there. I see it. It's just a building off by itself. Is $83,061.25 normal for
Tell us
security?
what was, I'm not sure what normal is, but
Can you explain the difference of the concern?
I'm not too sure what the difference would be as far as what the costs were in the other buildings. I would need to research that. I know that this is for the installation of the cabling, the actual equipment, the security cameras, the dome, and then we need to have the monitor system at the constable's office. Since they are in separate buildings, we do have connectivity that needs to take place there. We're also doing camera systems at the JP Precinct 5 office as well. And then we do have connectivity between the Precinct 5 office and the constable's office. That way the constable can view the video for both the Precinct 1 and the Precinct 5 JP's offices.
This is for the 3 JPs, right?
Yes, for the 3 JPs, yes. We JP Precinct 1 Place 1 and JP Precinct 1 Place 2. And then for JP Precinct 5 Place 1, we're having the video cameras installed in each of those locations, and then also the video surveillance to be done by the constable's
I'm sure the
office.
competitive bidding act was complied with.
I believe they used some state contracts, state awarded vendors were used for these things, and also all the other bidding requirements.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, I've been working on a related but unrelated to this item. I've been working with the tax office with respect to retrofitting and updating their camera security surveillance system. Given the fact that we're talking about 3 JPs, Virginia, this is well within the range of what the cost of the equipment, given the fact that this is for the security system of the Justice Building. Remember that they're probably looking at DVR systems so that they can store the data and have the ability to go back and look at that data if they have to be looking at it. And so that price does go up. But I do believe, just looking at that and just hearing the discussions, I think it's well within the acceptable amount.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Did we act on it?
No, I don't
Yes,
believe.
actually,
There was an action?
Okay. All right. Next item.
Yes,
Salazar.
Martha Salazar for purchasing on 20A1 and 2, A, B, and C, no action to be taken. Let me clear up the concern on item 3. It's item 3B. I did respond this morning to the auditor's office. This is just the protocol. They're asking that what are the items that are going to be disposed of as salvage or destroyed. Those would be seldom that it happens because we usually sell everything at auction, but we bring it now so that at the end of the auction, if there are broken items, metal items, we will sell those for salvage, but anything that is broken and beyond repair, it'll be disposed of.
Yeah, my concern, Marty, is that at this point, court is approving the, for you to destroy or dispose of items, but they're not listed here, so whatever they might be, and that's what must question, what items are we referring to here?
Well, you won't know until after the auction. This
So
is all in conjunction with the protocol that we use.
So I would
We've
think
used
that-
it in the past, and this is so that we don't have to bring, and we haven't had occasion to use it. This is in the event that not all the items are sold. Remember, a lot of those items that are not desirable at all for repair are put in lots to be sold with other better items so that we can get rid of them. So it's very rare that we actually do that, but if we do have them, we can then proceed to discard them, or when they're metal, we will sell them for salvage. So this is just part of the process.
No, I understand, but it makes more sense to me that you will have this item after the auction. Because at that point, you will know what's going to be destroyed.
Well, it just means additional storage. As I said, we haven't had items to bring back. This is to give me the authority to dispose of those items
All right,
as salvage.
That sounds practical. Go ahead.
So item 1 is requesting approval to declare the items listed in Exhibit A. Now, that's the ones that are going to be auctioned, scheduled for June the 5th in accordance with 263-152A1. That I
Need
need.
a motion to,
This is A and B?
This is A1. I think you have to take them separately.
Move for approval.
Check.
as to 3A, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And then pursuant to the same statute, only it's 1, and/or A3, we ask the Commissioners Court proceed to order any of the property to be destroyed or otherwise disposed of as worthless inasmuch as the sale of said items in the event on June the 5th that we undertook to sell did not result in a sale.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is requesting authority to publish the advertisement for the auction of surplus equipment and vehicles scheduled for, as I said before, June the 5th, including but not limited seized, abandoned, and unclaimed property, or additional and/or necessary auctions.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Marty, is there a separate item than A? Was
Pardon
there a
me?
Is item C the duplicate of A?
No, the only thing is that we caption it that way, but it also includes seized, abandoned, and unclaimed.
Seized
In
and
the
abandoned.
event the Sheriff's Department sends us something. Okay? Item 3 is, item B1, Precinct 2, recommendation by Project Engineer Raul Cecin, Hidalgo County Planning Department, to award the following for Hidalgo County Precinct 2 projects to the lowest bidder meeting all specification. A is Little Mexico Subdivision and South Tower Estates Paving and Drainage Improvements Project. That is, the total bid is 2GS, that's the awarded vendor, $468,569.70. Item B is McCall Road Overlay and Curb and Gutter Improvements to also 2GS LLC at $408,758.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under 262-024A4, a professional service.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking of those firms that were evaluated and graded for Precinct 2 project. Those were MEG at 97, Terracon at 93, Bettis Consulting at 82. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Authority for the Purchasing Department to negotiate a professional engineering services contract with the number 1, commencing with the number 1 MEG.
Joe.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C1, this is for Precinct 3, acceptance and approval of work authorization 1 with an estimated cost of $40,920 as submitted by project engineer Javier Hinojosa Engineering for services for Marisol Street, Ojo de Agua Street.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And including that was
Regency
agency
Acres.
and Regency Acres Street too. The next item is D1. This is presentation of bids received and is detailed in the tabulation sheet. This is for electronic security system maintenance and repair. This was done for the Sheriff's Department. We had 7 packets requested, 2 submitted, and we are recommending Montgomery Technology Systems LLC.
Any questions?
What do
D1.
Everything is in order.
you need action?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On E1, I'll address the point of information. The auditor's office did remind us that they would rather we take no action because there's no requisition. But at the same, this morning, we did call the DA's office. They are going to be submitting their requisition as they usually do right after the approval. Are requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements, 262-024A7, a proprietary software for online research services.
Move for approval.
Is that for A or B?
For A, I need the exemption first, please.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And then B is requesting approval of agreement, if applicable, for online research services with LexisNexis, including but not limited to the following items. That's the, any of the departments that are needing the service, but we commencing with the DA's office.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Before we close it, I was made aware that I had omitted Beth Barnes from open forum, but I was under the impression I saw her get up and make a statement, but if she wants to talk about something that's really pressing.
That's all I have, thank you.
Oh. All right. I'll give her 10 minutes. All right, need a motion to proceed to executive session pursuant to 551, 071, and 072 of the government code.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Action. 21B, pending potential litigation. There is no action at this time. Under open, 22A, no action. 22B, no action. Yes, 22A and B, yes, I apologize. I said 21A, that was the close. 22 is the open. 22C, claim of Pedro and Maria de Jesus Mendoza and Angel and Jesus Mendoza minors. Judge Commissioners, I'd like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $1,000 for each, for a total of $2,000. So claim of Pedro and Maria de Jesus Mendoza and Angel, $1,000, and claim of Pedro and Maria de Jesus Mendoza and Jesus Mendoza, $1,000.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, 22D, claim of Maria Lozoya, that's being facilitated by Josie Ramirez of the DA's office. Item 22E, civil action number 113-CV-00092, Jesus Guerrero et al. Versus Sheriff Guadalupe Lupe Trevino, the County of Hidalgo, and Judge Homero Hassel, Judge Commissioners. I'd like to refer back to items 7A1 and 2. Item 7A1, I'm asking or requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 262-024A4, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. I could have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 7A2, requesting engagement with the firm of Preston Henderson for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit letter of engagement specific to civil action number 113CV-00092, Jesus Guerrero et al. Versus Sheriff Guadalupe Lupe Trevino, the County of Hidalgo, and Judge Homero Hassel, Sr.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That's all I have for today, Judge Commissioner.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Move for approval.
Colorado. Check.
Those in favor say aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.